So, AEW once again was on Friday night, and I thought we actually had a pretty decent show. On paper, it was a little weak, I thought, going in, but we had some pretty fun matches. We had the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler facing Pac, Eddie Kingston, and Penta, and then we had Evil Uno and Miro for the TNT Championship, which was a really good match. And then we had at the end of the night wrapping things up Hangman and 10 versus Brian Cage and Powerhouse Hobbs, which I thought was also a very strong match. So we had some pretty good matches. We also had Nyla Rose and Leyla Hirsch. They had a pretty solid one as well. So overall, on paper going in, I wasn't too sure how this was going to go. I was looking forward to Evil Uno and Miro. But overall, I thought the show came off pretty well.
I thought it was kind of a middling Dynamite, but a middling Dynamite is still, a pretty enjoyable 2-hour show. So, it's late on Friday night. They know, it's gonna be a lower audience. They're keeping the bigger guns. We're in a holding pattern for a couple of weeks until we get to the Saturday. I think is 8 or. Week after next that we have the live show with Kenny and Jungle Boy. But, for a holding pattern show, this was quite enjoyable.
Yeah, and also we also had a classic segment with the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle. Mostly the Inner Circle is half of the segment, which those never get old. Those types of segments never get old.
That was pretty excellent. Yeah, anytime a car is getting destroyed, that's a good time.
Yeah,
it's one of those wrestling rules, and we've got. I don't know. It's just it tickled me in that like there's no we've all seen like WCW and WWE. There's no reason to spend money just to destroy a limousine, but damn it was fun and entertaining.
Yeah, they have just destroyed like so many vehicles on this show already in their short existence. So
because destroying cars in a wrestling show is good television.
It is, yeah. And on BTE, when Brandon Cutler ran into Christopher Daniels' rental car on accident, which was real. It wasn't. That was not work. Yeah, he actually really did run into his rental car. All right, so let's introduce the show here, and then we'll get into it. You're listening to the That's Wrestling podcast. Tonight we're going to be covering AEW Dynamite from June 11th, 2021 out of Daly's Place. Only a few more shows stuck in Daly's Place before they finally hit the road. If you are listening to this as a podcast, we do this show live over on Twitch and on YouTube. Obviously, because of the strange times when Dynamite has been happening, these shows have been kind of moving around, and last night I got dragged into a shindig that I had to go to, so couldn't do the show last night. Usually we do this the night after, but it is what it is. If you follow the links in the show notes to the Twitch or YouTube channel, you will be alerted, or at least on the YouTube channel, you'll be alerted when we create a live show. And if you are listening to this as a video later, we do this as a podcast as well, available on all your favorite podcast apps. Drop us a review on your podcast app of choice. Comments, question, feedback, you can send those to eric@thatswrestling.com. You can also follow us at That's Wrestling 1 on Twitter, and you can follow Trae Wrestleism on Twitter. And tonight I have a Trae Wisecarver. How's it going, man? It's only been a few days since we talked, but it's been an interesting weekend.
Yeah, good. Everything's kind of, I don't know, we're kind of in a spot where things are slowing down momentarily, and which we had the big slowdown for New Japan, and then we're slowly gonna, and like I said, this is a holding pattern, but it was an entertaining show. It's been a kind of a low key week here, other than the New Japan show on Monday. But yeah,
I guess the question right now is: have you seen the Stardom main event yet? Because I heard it was epic and was like Omega Okada quality level.
No, who is it?
I don't know because I haven't seen it yet, but I was wondering if you had seen it yet. So I probably will check that out later this week. But the ladies went like 40 some odd minutes. So I'll have to check that out. All right, let's get into this show here. AEW Dynamite. The Pinnacle arrive in a limo with their logo on the hood. It doesn't look like an old limo. Looks like a brand spanking new one. So had to cost a pretty penny. And then we have the opening credits. We come to the ring with Matt Hardy and TH2 are in the ring. Matt Hardy runs down Christian a little bit, says he's made more money than him, and that his associate, that being Angelico, is going to use his wisdom to end Christian's career, and you will never financially recover from this. And then Christian comes out.
The starter main event was Utami Hayashishita versus Shuri. And yeah, I actually have that show downloaded to watch, so yeah, just for an update. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
All right. Then we have the match of Christian Cage versus Angelico. Christian gave Angelico a lot in this match, though Christian has pretty much been doing that with all of his matches that he's had so far. His opponent has gotten a lot over on him. They exchange some holds out of the gate. Angelico stays down at one point, wanting Christian to come down and grapple with him. Once Angelico stands up, Christian just paintbrushes him. And then Angelico eats some punches in the corner, but Christian goes up to the top rope. He gets yanked off the top rope by Angelico, and then Angelico starts working over the shoulder. Christian hits a sunset flip, but Angelico rolls through and tries to get on the Navarro death roll, but Christian fights out. And then Angelico works it into an armbar, and Christian gets to the ropes there. Christian gets set up on the top rope, but he grabs onto Angelico's head when he's trying to climb up and pretty much gives him the swinging reverse DDT. Missile dropkick off the top from Christian for 2, and then Christian snaps Angelico on the top rope. Then a diving headbutt off the top for a 2 count. Commentary seemed a little uncomfortable talking about the diving headbutt, just because of the history of people who have used it and bad things happen.
This being the same week that the Dynamite Kid Dark Side of the Ring episode aired.
Oh, that as well, yes. So they seemed a little uncomfortable talking about the flying headbutt. We see an inside cradle for a 2 count, and Angelico hits a back fist, head kick, and then the jackknife cover for a 2 count. They end up colliding heads in the middle. Both kind of crawl over to opposite corners, pull themselves up. Christian avoids a splash in the corner, hits a seesaw kick, and then a little bit of striking, and then he hits the kill switch and gets the victory.
Yeah, first thing, I like how all of wrestling history exists in this promotion. Like, why are Matt Hardy and Christian Cage at odds? Well, they've been enemies for over 20 years. So, of course, this version of Matt Hardy is paying dues to go after Christian. As far as the match, I thought it was a match. The pace was... And I'm normally a big Angelico fan. I just felt like it was like... Christian spent way too much of the match selling for a guy that nobody on earth thought had a chance in hell of winning. And I understand you want to give the guys a lot, and I'm not saying... definitely not saying don't eat the guy alive, but if there's like... You know... such a disparity in push, you gotta work like it, and that's kind of a thing that's lost among a lot of top wrestlers today, is that they don't necessarily like work in relation to this match was too much Angelico winning on Christian when you knew that Angelico was not going to.
Yeah, they're not working to the level of the card that the other guys are at.
Right.
It's like such a disparity. Yes. And I mean, I have no problem with Angelico and Jack Evans. They're both excellent wrestlers. They just have not been treated as big players in AEW. And if you wanted to give Angelico this much, you kind of need to build up TH2 or at least Angelico before getting to Christian.
Yeah. And I mean, Angelico is one of those, and there are these, and there should be these guys in AEW, but he's one of them. He's like a guy who wins on Dark, but you don't see him on Dynamite until it's time for him to lose to somebody again.
Yeah. All right. Post-match, Jack Evans runs in. Christian ends up taking care of him pretty handily, but Matt Hardy slips in from behind, hits Christian with the twist of fate. They start all beating on Christian, and he's setting up for another twist of fate where Jungle Boy runs out for the save, running off the rest of the Hardy family office.
Yep, that is what happened.
They mentioned that all 4 of the Dynamites in July are going to be named. So we have July 7th is going to be Road Rager. The 14th and 21st are going to be Fighter Fest, night 1 and 2, and then Fight for the Fallen on the 28th. So I'm guessing we're going to have relatively big cards for all of the Dynamites in July.
Yeah, I'm going to end up regretting not going to Austin or Dallas. We'll see.
Tony introduces Cody Rhodes, Arn, and Brock Anderson, and Brock basically looks like his dad, and if you put Arn Anderson in a time machine and went back 30 years, you probably wouldn't be able to tell them apart.
Yeah, seriously, somebody had a picture of Brock, and then it's the picture of Arn in like his button-up shirt and shorts from when he did the deal with Kevin Sullivan at Super Brawl '96. Somebody put those pictures side by side and said, "This is the same picture."
They talk about Brock is going to be debuting on Dynamite next week. Cody talks him up, and then he says he'd like to get some revenge from getting beat by Anthony Ogogo last week. QT Marshall comes out saying, "What? Beaten by Ogogo? I pinned you in the middle of the ring myself." And just like I'm out here all by myself, QT Marshall says he wants a South Beach strap match in Miami on the 7th. Cody says, "You want a strap match? Well, let's do it right now." He starts taking off his belt. He pulls out his belt, and QT acts like he's going to leave. But as he has his back turned and he's walking away, he's actually taking his belt off, runs back into the ring, hits Arn Anderson from behind with his belt. Brock does a double leg takedown on QT, starts beating the crap out of him, and the refs all have to come down and break the whole thing up.
He looked like a Brock here, that's for sure. A double leg. Yeah, I'm into the QT's just a shit. He's great.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, that kid he looks like an Anderson. There's no denying that. So I'm, excited. It's kind of like when a New Japan Young Lion debuts. Like, okay, I want to see what this guy can do.
Yeah, hopefully he wrestles like an Anderson. So.
Yeah, well, he's considering who's been training him, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And it's somebody's like, how can you just hate on AEW when they have the son of Arn Anderson teaming with the son of Dusty Rhodes? It's just so much happiness here.
We have Eddie Kingston and Penta versus the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler. This is an inset before when the Kingston Pack and Penta are coming out. Eddie says that my enemy is my friend, but even my best friend, referring to Penta. So he still considers Penta to be his best friend, and he says, "Right, Pack?" And Pack just stands there stoically, says nothing, and we have an awkward pause, and then he just walks off, and Eddie says, "He doesn't know me yet."
Eddie's the greatest.
Eddie is great. Matt and Pac start it off, and Matt ends up getting punched by everybody on the opposite team. Brandon doesn't want to tag in, so Matt forces him to tag and then slingshots him into the ring, and Brandon Cutler gets his ass beat. Bit of tension between Pac and Kingston. on, tagging in or out. Pac tosses Brandon Cutler to the Bucks and just throws him into the corner and be like, yeah, one of you tag in. Matt tags back in. Pac does the Bucks back handspring into a drop kick, and then he does the mocking Bucks pose. Have you seen the young Pacs image?
No.
They've just mirrored him, so there's two of them, so it says the young Pacs.
That is excellent.
It's great. Nick trips getting into the ring, which I thought was great. Pac sends him to the outside. Pac ends up getting pulled out, though. Hits a backdrop on Brandon on the floor. The Bucks start to beat on Pac for a bit. They get the heat on Pac through the commercial. Nick does some classic Macho Man mannerisms. Plenty of healing it up from the Bucks. Matt tries to hit a swinging DDT. Pac throws him off, and he reluctantly tags in Kingston. Kingston hits this great belly-to-belly suplex, then an exploder. Penta gets tags in. He hits a crossbody on both of the Bucks, and then the Bucks go to super kick Penta. Penta moves, and they super kick Brandon. Penta then does like a sort of like a sunset flip into, and then rolls through and hits a destroyer on Nick. Brandon ends up getting kicked in the face. Oh, sorry, he hits the destroyer on Matt. Brandon is out on the floor. Penta is standing in front of him, and Nick is on the apron. He goes to kick Penta, and Penta just moves again. So Brandon gets kicked in the face by Nick again. Brandon tries to hit Pac with the camera. Kingston stops it. Penta and Kingston take out Nick and Brandon. Penta does a dive on Nick and Brandon on the outside. Pac hits the 450 splash, puts on the brutalizer on Matt. Nick kicks Pac in the face like 3 times, and he still won't let go. Kingston comes in to take out Nick. We get double dives from Kingston and Pac at the same time, and then a little bit more. Brandon misses a springboard elbow drop. Kingston takes him out with a back fist, and then Pac pins Brandon Cutler for the win. I thought this was a fun one. Perfect use of Brandon Cutler basically being the stooge that gets completely destroyed. Did you see BTE on Monday?
Yes, this week.
And Brandon, when he went to hit Pac the previous week, he's like, "I'm sorry, Pac, I don't want to do this," and he hits him with it. That was a really good, some really funny character work and moving. Brandon Cutler doesn't want to be a bad guy. He doesn't want to cheat, but then he does for the Bucks. Because the Bucks basically threatened him with his job because he got a brand new house in California, and they're like, "How's that? How much is that going to cost you? You got these two."
John, good thing you got job security.
Yeah, exactly.
Brandon Cutler was the star of this, which is great. He's just so great at being a fucking stooge. Nick did the dude love dance for no reason during the entrance. Entertaining. Cutler. Brandon accidentally getting super kicked, accidentally getting kicked in the face, just like this. And then Kingston knocks him out with this big back fist, and Pac just pins him, and it's very, very entertaining to me. And then more of I like this. I like this weird kind of hodgepodge of anti-elite coalition with Kingston and Pac and Penta and the Elite Hunter Frankie Kazarian.
Yeah, because as soon as the match is over, Bucks run in, they start super kicking everybody. Good Brothers come out to join the beatdown, and then Frankie Kazarian runs in, and he just starts destroying everybody, and he destroyed Brandon with this massive lariat at the end. So in the ring, we have the Frankie Kazarian, Pac, Kingston, and Penta. And Frankie looks like a mean dude right now, so I am digging Frankie's direction right now.
Me too.
They play some recap from the Triple Threat, and basically this is a made up. This video package was put together by Dawn and Kenny Omega. They put in some subtitles. They changed the crowd chant from "Fuck you, Dawn" to "Thank you, Dawn" for pulling the ref out when Orange Cassidy had the pin, and they're claiming everything is a conspiracy against Kenny Omega. Everybody's trying to. It's a conspiracy. Orange Cassidy's involved. All of AEW, they want to get the belt off of Kenny Omega.
Yeah, this was very, very. The fake subtitles was just. I thought this was fantastic.
And then next up we have the Pinnacle. They make their way out to the ring. Dax starts it off saying that Stadium Stampede didn't go the way they wanted, but the match wasn't made for guys like us. Santana Ortiz, you did give us a fight though, says, but Santana Ortiz, you have lost your edge. FTR never did. Dax says, I got a wife and kids, and I got a bank account I have to fill up, and that's one of the reasons I'm willing to take food out of your family's mouth. And Cash says, I don't have a wife and kids, so I don't give a shit about it. And Ortiz and Santana's families. Spears says all of the flip Sammy does just makes him into an indie wrestler. Wardlow says, Jake, I think you need me. Why? Because every time I bring out the best in you, so you invite me to your comfort zone because you can't beat me in this ring. It doesn't matter if it's in a freezer or a ring or a football field or an octagon. When you're standing across from me, you're always in Wardlow's world. And then he accepts the MMA cage fight for next week. Really good out of Wardlow here.
Yes. Wardlow was great here. I'm excited. An MMA cage fight.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they can do a good worked cage match. So MJF, he's talking about how excited he was when he was joining AEW and that he'd have the chance to work with Jericho, and he thought he'd be interacting with a god, but he is just like everybody else. You're not even on my level. MJF says Sammy doesn't belong in the ring with him. And then Jericho pops up on the screen. And he says, are we going through this again? You know what happens when you don't give Inner Circle what they want. You can brag about everything to your little friends while you're walking home. And then the Inner Circle destroys the Pinnacle's limo. Hager, they're destroying it with sledgehammers and the bat. And Hager drives a forklift through it, lifts it up. Doesn't really get to flip it over. It would have been nice if he flipped it over, but he didn't. And then all the Inner Circle pile onto the forklift. And Jericho says, hey, Pinnacle, better call an Uber. And then they all drive off, throwing up the middle fingers. First time I think I've ever seen a faction drive away on a forklift.
Fantastic. Yeah, like I said, destroying a limousine is always a good time.
We have a Darby and Sting video. This is just a backstage of them talking to each other. Gets a little awkward between the two of them. Darby is saying he's not going to replace Sting in the match between Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page next week. He wants it to be a handicap match. And then he and Sting exchange some awkward chit-chat. And Darby asks Sting to just stay home, and Sting agrees. He puts up the fist. He wants a fist bump. And Darby is really slow on reciprocating, but he finally does.
Yeah, it's... so we've got Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page against Darby in a handicap match. So, see what comes of that.
It was very awkward, though, wasn't this promo seemed really awkward between the two of them?
I didn't feel like it was awkward. I felt like it was just, I don't know, it was like it was designed to be awkward, like it was designed that they were having a comfortable conversation.
That's what I couldn't figure out. Was it purposefully awkward, or did it just come off as awkward?
See, I assumed it was purposefully awkward, but
I hope that was the case because that they hit it out of the park then. Next up, we have a quick video package with Evil Uno talking about Brody Lee, how much he and the TNT Championship mean to Evil Uno and the Dark Order, and while he doesn't care totally who in the Dark Order brings the championship back, he selfishly wants to do it to make Brody Lee proud. Nice little promo from him.
this was very nice. I liked it.
So then we have Evil Uno versus Miro for the TNT Championship. This was a very fun match, very good match. We go right into Miro using his power. He no-sells some chops from Uno. On the outside, Uno dodges a punch. Miro punches the ring post. Uno hits a cannonball from the apron to the floor. Back into the ring, Miro retakes control with some suplexes. And then Miro lays shots into the back and works a straitjacket choke. Uno gets his... he gets to his feet, throws some strikes to the midsection, but Miro comes right back with a drop kick. Uno gets knocked off the apron into the barricade, and then Five and Stu Grayson, they come out and they hype Uno to will him to the to answer the 10 count. Miro goes to the outside, clothesline Stu Grayson over the barricade. Five runs away. Miro tears off the turnbuckle pad, throws it at him, and then Uno gets back into the ring. He hits some strikes, hits a running step up Hurricanrana. That's a big dude hitting a Hurricanrana in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
He hits a running boot in the corner. Uno goes up top, hits a senton, but only gets a 1 count. All of the Dark Order come out at this point, including -1. It looks like he has gotten his grades back up because he was pulled because Amanda said that his grades were slipping, so he couldn't go to Dynamite.
Tony explained who he was in a voice clip that was clearly added in post-production. A little thing that I noticed.
Uno stomps on Miro's hand. Miro tries a roll-up, and Uno pushes him off, and Miro goes right into that exposed turnbuckle that he himself had exposed. But Uno only gets a 2 count off of that. Uno goes for the Brody Lee discus lariat, but Miro does not go down. He just eats it, and he fires right back with a lariat, stomps on the back, puts on the game over, and yanks all the way back, and Uno has to tap out.
Man, this is what I've been waiting for. Fiery babyface Evil Uno. It was great. His Miro just killed this poor fucker, but he was in the whole time. And then the finish, it was just a great dick monster heat finish that Miro just absorbs the Mr. Brody discus lariat and shrugs it off and kills him to death with the lariat. I enjoyed this very much.
Next up, they say that JR is going to have an interview with Andrade El Idolo, and they show a video of Andrade getting dressed. That was it.
Indeed, they did.
Tony's in the ring, says that we'll be having Jungle Boy and Omega in a couple weeks. So that's going to be on the 26th on a Saturday. And Tony introduces Omega and Dawn. Omega comes out with only the AEW belt. So we got that. Dawn wants to make it sound like Jungle Boy is part of the conspiracy against Omega as well. Says that Jungle Boy has it all except the guts. And then Jungle Boy comes out. Omega is basically saying, "What are you doing here? You're not a promo guy. I'm the best in the business on this microphone." Omega babbles on, and he's like, "I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to say what you need to say," and he says, "You talk way too much," and then he pushes the mic away. Omega tries to take a swing. Jungle Boy avoids it, takes down Omega. Omega pokes him in the eyes. They fight a little bit. Then Omega gets dropped. Then Jungle Boy goes to get the snare trap on. Right before he can lock it in, though, the Young Bucks run out. So Jungle Boy releases and rolls out of the ring to avoid the Young Bucks.
Like, I kind of thought he should have got it on and had him tapping before the Bucks made the save.
That would have made more sense, yes.
I think that Jungle Boy needs that little bit of credibility going into this match.
I wonder if that was actually supposed to happen, but the Bucks were early on their cue.
I hope not. That'd be...
yeah, I hope not. That would really suck. But next up, we have a Jade Cargill video. Who gives a crap with Mark, and Mark says, "We're thrilled to announce Mark Sterling." Yes, Mark Sterling, and he says, "We're making a bunch of money." Blah blah blah. She's that bitch. Basically, a promo like every other promo she's done that goes nowhere.
Yeah,
don't care. Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, they have a little backstage video. They basically say that Darby Allin is an idiot and they're going to destroy him physically and mentally next week.
Yeah. Tell them as the Men of the Year. Is that their name? That's kind of
yes, they did say that, so we'll see. Lance Archer versus a jobber, and it's over.
Chandler Hopkins.
Chandler Hopkins.
Killed this poor fucker, beat him in 52 seconds with the blackout.
Yep, that was it.
I think it was on Dark like a week or two ago that Archer was coming out, and he's dragging his opponent like you found him in the back. And Justin Roberts just kind of adjusts mid-thing. He goes, throwing his opponent into the ring.
Then we have the Wingmen. Ryan Nemeth says Orange Cassidy is the worst dressed in AEW. Peter Avalon says that he needs a makeover. So either we're going to rearrange your wardrobe or Cesar Bernoni is going to rearrange your face. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we move on to the ladies. Nyla Rose versus Leyla Hirsch. This was a fun match. I thought it was pretty good. Leyla Hirsch is really good. She can bump around as well. She can just get tossed around, or she can be a little firecracker if she wants to. Vicky brought out a step stool that said legit shorty on it. So that was pretty funny. Nyla drops Hirsch right away, but then Hirsch goes right to putting on an armbar. Nyla gets to the ropes. Leyla throws some shots and then does a dive to the outside, but Nyla catches her, runs her into the edge of the apron. They fight on the outside. Leyla gets swung into the barricade. She gets beaten up some more in the ring. Knee drop from Nyla for a 2 count. Vicky gets a shot in of her own behind the ref's back at one point. They get the heat on Leyla through the commercial. We have no idea what happened at some point because the picture-in-picture stopped early before, and then when we come back, Leyla is running in, getting in double knees, so we don't see how she turned things around.
Yeah, on the Fight TV feed, there is always the one commercial break late in the show that actually, for no reason, they'll do the picture-in-picture for half of it, and then go to the screensaver, and I don't understand why that is, and stupid, and I hate it.
Yeah.
Leyla Hirsch is awesome, and just I would have liked this match more, except that I was it was way too long of Leyla, getting destroyed by somebody who's not nearly as good as her. But she's great, and she needs a lot of people have brought it up, and it makes perfect sense. What about Leyla in Team Taz?
That's what I thought. I thought that would be good. But I think she's too babyface at the moment, obviously, so.
Yeah, maybe so. She's just, I don't know.
I mean, I think she'd be I know it's already a big, but I would totally put her with the Inner Circle.
Really?
I would totally put her in that group.
I have a thing for short, thick brunettes. So Leyla Hirsch, really.
Let's see. We picture. Leyla hits the double knees into the corner as soon as the commercial is over. German suplex, running knee, moonsault for a 2 count. Hirsch puts on the armbar. Nyla just picks her up and slams her down. And then thank you, Leyla, for not staying hung up on the rope waiting for Nyla to drop the knee, because I hate that so much. Nyla blocks a Rana off the top and then pulls her back up, hits the Beast Bomb off the middle rope, gets the win. At least it wasn't a squash. That is what I wrote at the end of this. And Leyla looks good. David in the comments asked, what do you think about Shanna versus Leyla? Was that the reason Shanna didn't get renewed? I didn't see that. I don't remember that match. It might have been on Dark or something.
I think, yeah, I don't remember that.
I don't know why Shanna didn't renew, because I thought she had just moved to the United States.
Wasn't she, like, the one that was posting, like, some anti-immigrant something or other on Twitter from a while back?
I doubt it, because she's Portuguese. Or, no, she's not Portuguese. She's Brazilian, I think.
She is...
Wait.
French-Portuguese.
She's French-Portuguese.
No, she's talking about the refugee crisis in Europe.
Got it. I don't know. That could be the case. Not sure.
I also don't know.
There's all these ladies from all these countries that I can't keep them straight. Leyla is from Russia, grew up in the United States. Shanna is from France, grew up in Brazil, I think? I don't know. What? And Portugal?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh,
I think so.
I thought she lived in South America at some point too. I don't know. Can't get them straight. Shannon didn't not want to get submitted by Leyla. Yeah, it was. He said it was on Dark. I don't remember seeing that match, so couldn't tell you. Bummer though, because I thought she was pretty good.
No loss.
Britt is with Tony backstage with Rebel, and Britt is saying that at first she was furious with Nyla for ruining her celebration, but then she thought about it, and Nyla, you look damn good flipping those burgers, maybe you should do that full time. Which I thought was good. A nice little dig. She says she's already the superior champion, even though it's only been like 2 weeks, and says that Nyla needs the title to make her, but Britt, I make the title.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I still think Britt and Nyla's going to be a rough time.
I do too.
We'll see.
In 2 weeks, Jungle Boy versus Omega for the AEW title, and then next week we have Penta Kingston and Frankie Kazarian taking on Matt Jackson and the Good Brothers. That's an interesting pairing. Should be a fun one though. Interview with Andrade with JR. Orange Cassidy versus Cesar Bononi. Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Jake Hager versus Wardlow in a cage fight. And Cody Rhodes, Brock Anderson versus QT Marshall and Aaron Solo.
Yeah.
So 5 matches plus an interview segment announced. And I don't see any of these being squash matches, so those are probably the 5 matches that we're getting next week.
Yeah, it sounds, like another fun show.
And then we go into the main event of the evening, and this is Hangman Page and 10 from the Dark Order versus Brian Cage and Powerhouse Hobbs from Team Taz. They mentioned that Hangman's wife is with child. I think we knew this about a couple weeks ago anyways. But Cage goes after Hangman right away. Hangman fires back. They counter each other a bit, and Hangman then hits a standing shooting star press for a 2. Tilt-a-whirl backbreaker from Brian Cage. 10 makes a blind tag. 10 got knocked off the apron. Did you see that when he made the blind tag? Or just like fell off the apron on accident?
No,
I think he stepped away from the turnbuckle to make the blind tag, and when Hangman hit the rope, it hit 10 in the stomach, which launched him backwards, and I think he missed grabbing the rope to keep him from falling off the apron. But it was fine. He jumped into the ring off the blind tag. Assisted power bomb, though he ends up eating it. Where we are here. 10 makes the blind tag, bunch of strikes, hits a running boot, but then Hobbs buries a knee in the back from the outside when 10 hits the ropes. And then Hobbs gets tagged in. We get an assisted power bomb from Cage and Hobbs to 10. Team Taz get the heat on 10 through the commercial. Standing moonsault from Brian Cage for a 2 count, and then Hook and Starks makes their way ringside. Cage hits a massive drop kick. That guy has such a vertical leap. It is insane.
Yeah.
Where am I? Massive drop kick. 10 and Cage exchange strikes. Cage whips out... I'm not sure what I meant to say here. I think he took out Hangman with a shot on the ring apron. 10 makes some space from Hobbs. Hobbs gets tagged in. He takes it to Hangman, but Hangman is ready this time. He avoids the shot from Hobbs running in and hits himself. 10 tags out to Hangman. Hangman gets caught by Cage doing crossbody to the floor, and then Cage looked like he wanted to powerbomb him into the ring post, but then Hangman turns that into a Rana, sending Cage into the ring post. Hobbs hits a massive cross body to Hangman. 10 breaks up the pin. 10 and Cage sent back to the outside, and then Hangman drops Hobbs with some forearms. 10 tags in. 10 hits a spinebuster on Hobbs. Double teaming from Team Taz, though. They hit a high-low for a 2 count. Hook pulls the ref. Starks throws the belt to Brian, and Brian throws the belt back to the outside, and then Starks goes up. He's standing on the stage, yelling at Brian Cage from the stage, or that little extension, so he's basically on the apron. And then Brian slaps him across the face, and Starks bails, and Brian Cage goes after him, leaving Hobbs all alone in the ring. Hobbs get hit with a cutter, then a buckshot lariat, and then 10 pins Hobbs for the win. Dark Order all run out with some celebratory beers and water for Colt and -1.
Yeah. I noted the exact same thing. Beer and waters. Nice match, fun match. My stream went a little wonky during this match, so I didn't get like a smooth thing. But yeah, finally got the the direction that we've been looking at for months is the dissension between Cage and Team Taz, and yeah,
got physical this time.
Got physical, yeah.
So where do we think we're going here after the breakup? After Brian Cage is spun out of Team Taz, where are we going with Brian Cage? Is he going solo? Is he finding somebody else to be friendly with, or what's up with that?
Man, you can do anything with Brian Cage. That's the thing, dude.
Can we get a Cage's team tag team? Christian Cage and Brian Cage, the Cages.
Yeah, I was thinking about a tag team, but I was thinking about more of a, another gigantic fucker. But hey, man, Cage and Miro. That sounds like a direction that I'd be interested in.
Yeah, but Brian Cage is going to turn babyface and Miro's a heel, so it'd be weird to turn him back to.
I meant them fighting each other.
Oh, fighting each other. Yeah. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know who the tag team partner would be, but I don't know. They kind of seems like they cycle. There's using guys in actual tag teams when they're not being, when they don't really have singles programs. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be. How long is Ricky Starks supposed to be out with the neck injury?
They were hoping he was going to be good in 8 to 12. So hopefully he'll be back by All Out, basically.
Okay, that's good.
So, but I mean, obviously they're kind of playing it by ear because it's a injury that they're hoping he doesn't have to have surgery for and it can heal on its own. So. But I doubt he's going to go hard and heavy. He's probably going to have to do some rehab and all that stuff before he actually gets back into the ring. So, 8 to 12 probably for healing, and then probably another month or two for rehab and getting back into ring shape before he actually takes too many bumps on it.
Yeah,
I guess we'll see. But overall, I thought this was a entertaining episode. Of course, we're still kind of in that holding pattern, but I mean, next week is looking fun with, Sky and Paige versus Darby Allin in a handicap match, and Hager and Wardlow in the cage fight. The debut of Brock Anderson and Matt and the Good Brothers versus Penta, Kingston, and Kazarian. I mean, those all should be fun matches. And Orange Cassidy versus Cesar.
Yeah.
So
should be a fun show.
So I think next week is the last taped show that they're going to have.
Yeah, that's the end of an era.
Except for, are they doing a show on the 30th? And if so, is it live or is it going to be taped? That's the one show I don't know about. I don't know if they're having a show on the 30th because it's only 4 days after the show on the 26th. I don't know either.
I don't know.
All right. Anything else you want to touch on before we wrap it up here? This is actually one of the shorter shows that we've done on AEW.
Yeah, I know. It's like I said, not a lot of plot, like major plot moments. There was some plot forwarding, but not a lot of major plot moments.
That is a good way to put it. Yeah, there are no twists. There are no massive changes to the directions of anything, really.
What's the word? Caretaker. It's just kind of a caretaker show.
Yeah. All right, so you got nothing?
I got nothing.
All right, so I guess we will wrap it up here early. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening to the That's Wrestling podcast. If you're listening to this as a podcast, we do this show live on YouTube and Twitch. You can follow the links in the show notes for those. If you're listening as a podcast, head over to your favorite podcast app of choice. Drop us a review, comments, question, feedback. You can send those to eric@thatswrestling.com. Follow us on Twitter @thatswrestling1 with the number 1 at the end. You can follow Trae @WrestleIsm on the Twitter as well. And there's a link to our Discord in the show notes so you can come hang out with us. So for Trae Wisecarver, my name is Eric LaRoche, and you have been watching and listening to That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.
Bye.